Hey, welcome everybody to Four Brothers Podcast. This is Walt, my brother Chuck, brother Alex.
Hey, what's up everybody?
And the one missing today is Andrew because he's busy protesting Obamacare somewhere. All right, so what are we going to talk about today, fellas?
There's quite a few things going on in the world of wrestling.
Like what, the fact that Daniel Bryan is over with all the fans?
And they still won't give him the belt?
Well, that's the thing. Well, he doesn't necessarily need it. He'll end up with it, just like I've been predicting. But sometimes you give somebody the belt to try to get him over. Obviously, it didn't work with Jack Swagger, who they seem to be burying pretty good right now.
Well, Ziggler, too.
Well, Ziggler, I think, stems from his off-air antics more than it does what he's doing in the ring, because he's obviously outshining a lot of people. I haven't seen the spot that they're talking about where he's almost breaking down in tears, talking about, you know, nobody outdoes him in the ring and all that.
What is this?
Oh my God, super gay ringtone.
Huh?
You could have put it on vibrate, homie.
Oh, we're...
What? I would say that was incoherent.
Yeah,
but
we are.
We might get in a fight later.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah, we're recording.
Yeah, we're actually recording, and he's having another conversation. I don't know who
You're
he's
on the
talking
air.
to, though.
Andy, are you busy? Do you want... Hello?
He's clearly busy. That's why he called.
Okay.
Are you now texting?
Hello? Will that work? That's the highest it will go.
Andrew.
Hey, Walter.
Hey, Andrew, call back on my phone.
All right.
This thing's not loud enough.
Well, that's because it's a 1995 version phone. All right, so we're about to have him join us live via phone at the Obamacare protesting rally he's at. You know, while we're waiting for him to call in, I'm actually going to say something. You know, the Republicans really say the Democrats suck right now, and they're impeding the direction the country's going in. And on the other side, they're saying that they're impeding and damaging the country. And I got to say, it's the first time I've agreed with both of them.
Yeah, the Obamacare thing, I don't know, it's still hard to really say anything about.
I don't
know
really
a whole lot about it.
Get into it that much, but I'm kind of tripping out because I looked into it, and cost-wise, it's cheaper than my insurance, and it's better. So I don't know how that works out.
I'm just trying to understand how people who had insurance and things were fine now are affected by Obamacare. I mean, me personally, what I pay out of my check almost doubled because of Obamacare. Why am I being affected?
Yeah, it's...
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because everybody has to have it. The part that I didn't understand, and again, it's ignorance because I haven't really looked into it because I already had everything, but people that don't have insurance are going to get fined. From what I understand, and that didn't really make sense to me at all. But, yeah, it is what it is. We're going to be Canadians pretty soon, I guess. But anyway, going back to Dolph Ziggler, so he gave this interview that was pretty emotional, I guess, you know, based around him never getting a push. And one of the big topics we're going to have to talk about today is CM Punk taking his ball and going home, so to speak.
Is that real or is that show?
No, that is real, actually. And what happened was, when they were in LA last week, Monday, when they did Monday Night Raw, there was so many CM Punk chants before the show. What they did was they actually accidentally recorded the broadcasters talking about it, and they were like, wow, you know, listen to all these CM Punk fans. They're like, oh, this isn't going to last long, as a joke because it just kept going and going and going. So, yeah, it's apparently real, but he's been disgruntled for a while. But, I mean, it's the same thing that Stone Cold did back in the day, except for Vince didn't come out and put a can of beer in the middle of the ring. So, Andrew, are you on?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
So, which Obamacare rally are you at?
I would actually like to tell you I'm currently at a Ted Nugent concert showing my support for the other side.
Ted Nugent is a freak. I wish his show was still on. That was so awesome.
I know, huh?
Did you ever see it, Alex?
Yeah. Didn't he steal an Oscar from Metallica one time, or Grammy?
No, that was oh my gosh, what were their names? The ones that beat Metallica. It was Jethro Tull.
Yeah, Jethro Tull.
Yeah, that was like a travesty that just seemed like a surreal joke from the minute it happened.
Metallica lost the heavy metal category to a flute player.
Yeah, they did. But the Ted Nugent show was one of the first real reality shows that I liked. He would take people on there, and they'd go to the out to his farm, and they'd have to hunt. And
I remember watching it, but I can't really remember anything about it. For some reason, him sitting on the hood of a truck with someone else driving, chasing people down, sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was kind of like all of Jurassic Park. But what he would do, but on the future seasons, what he would do is he would bring vegans and vegetarians, and he would bring atheists. He would bring people that are opposite of what he thought, what he believed in, and he would try to show them the good side of what he was doing. I mean, in a pretty genuine way, but also, he's kind of out there, so it's kind of jerky also, but in a very good way. He would show how his family was. But the people would come on and they'd get mad because all of a sudden they'd get into an egg throwing contest. You know what I mean? One guy got plastered with eggs and he just went crazy like, no, you killed the chickens. And then they would have to eat meat. I mean, it was an interesting show. But I got a bit of trivia for you, and Chuck might know the answer to this. Whose career got launched that lasted a little more than 15 minutes from that show?
I was about to ask that. It's Maria, huh?
No.
It's a diva, though, isn't it?
No. Tila Tequila.
Wow.
Yeah, she was on that show. She was so awesome on that show. No, I hate her now. I thought she was genuine on the first Shot of Love. But, yeah, now she's just freaky. But you are correct. Maria is the only person whose career got launched from Outback Jack.
That's what it was.
And believe it or not, I never saw one episode of that damn show.
I know. Well, you heard what Tila Tequila did with the guy who won, right? She wouldn't return any of his phone calls.
She wouldn't even give him her number.
Hey, back to CM Punk. So, he's just upset that he doesn't get to decide the creative?
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes people start believing their own hype. And the thing is, they start to think they're bigger than the business. And the thing about it is CM Punk is so awesome, so over. He doesn't really need the belt, but he should be in the mix. And the thing about it is he wants to be what John Cena had been for the first 9 of the last 10 years or so, He wanted to be the guy to carry the banner. And they're just doing different stuff, and he thought he should be in the main event of WrestleMania. And I agree. I think it should have been him versus Daniel Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania. And speaking of which, before we continue on CM Punk, I'm going to make this prediction before anybody else says it, because I said it the other day when we were just talking, and that is that I believe the main event at WrestleMania will be a 3-way match somehow with Daniel Bryan, Batista, and Randy Orton.
Yeah, I was curious they might try something like that, but I don't know. I mean, it's just like it also seems to me like they might not do that, and then the next day Triple H will come out and do the whole thing he's been doing, where he's like, "Oh, somebody didn't get what they wanted."
Yeah, no, exactly.
But here's my question then. Because they're building up Daniel Bryan versus Kane and Daniel Bryan maybe versus Triple H as well, where does Triple H and Kane fit in the WrestleMania scene?
They actually aren't setting up Daniel Bryan versus Kane. You think they are, but if you actually look at it, that's Kane being the lackey for them also, because who did he choke slam a few weeks back and got in trouble? Remember he attacked...
It was CM Punk.
Yeah, it was CM Punk.
But now that CM Punk is gone, it seems like they're gearing towards Daniel Bryan versus Kane.
Well, let me ask you this: if that's true and that's going to be the direction they're going in, then why is Wyatt family feud over? You see, they're trying to. It's a look this way so we can do this thing they have going on with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, they're just trying to keep him busy.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to make it seem like they're going in other directions, and he's never going to get what he wants. But that is my solid prediction, because I think when you look at it, he's going to lose the chamber. I think Randy Orton probably walks out with the belt, and Daniel Bryan screwed again, and then somehow Daniel Bryan ends up in the main event at WrestleMania, a la Triple H, Shawn, and Benoit, so you think he's the guy that's not going to win.
But it all really depends on Sunday. Because if he wins on Sunday, that will mean Randy Orton would get his rematch at WrestleMania. And Batista's already going to WrestleMania.
Right, but if you give him the belt right now, it means nothing.
Yeah, you're not going to get the pop. You're going to get the pop when he wins it at WrestleMania.
Exactly, because that's what they've been waiting for all this time. So, but back to the CM Punk thing. I can't remember how we got off the topic. It was probably something I said, but so he thought he should be in the main event. Yeah, that's how I got off topic. But he wanted to be in the main event of WrestleMania. So he decided it was time for him to go home and be done. And a lot of people think it was a work the first time when he beat Cena for the belt in Chicago and went home, but it wasn't. That was from my understanding, that was a true thing. He was ready to leave, and then things got changed up. But CM Punk would always be at the top, but he wasn't the guy they were going to let carry the banner like they did Cena. Cena was just a freak. I mean, it happened with Cena. Cena was never meant to be that guy. Cena just fell right into it.
Right. Well, does it seem to you maybe that CM Punk's being kind of a baby?
Yeah.
Like maybe he needs to grow up a little bit. He's kind of whining and bitching, but it's like, you take a look at him, if you go back in time, like 5-6 years, him and Drew McIntyre have the same potential of moving up in the WWE.
Yeah,
realistically, CM Punk could be the third member of 3MB right now, and Drew McIntyre could have been in his spot.
Except Drew McIntyre, I mean, as much as I like his wrestling skill, there's not much in the way of personality going on there when he's on the mic and stuff. Yeah,
maybe you're right, but it seems like at the time the WWE was treating them both like they had the same potential. And it just seems to me like CM Punk had a really good position to be in, and he's still complaining. Like, with everything he had, it wasn't enough.
Well, plus you figure probably McIntyre was happy to be in the WWE and happy to be a wrestler. So he was just showing up and doing his job, and Punk was the one bitching and moaning all the time of, I want, and they gave in and gave it to him.
But Drew McIntyre had his legal problems and marital problems. That's what killed his career.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But that's what you need to be to be a really good wrestler. You need to have that. You need to be able to complain to get what you want as a wrestler. Like, how could a Piper would it be?
There's a difference between complaining and going after what you want. They're two different things.
Well, I can also compare CM Punk to X-Pac. Like, when X-Pac left, everybody was saying, look, I mean, some people weren't even getting any screen time and were only wrestling at house shows. They had such a large roster after the WCW buyout. And X-Pac was bitching that he had to wrestle 2 nights in a row. That's the reason he was let go. And I just think, CM Punk's being more like that, being more like a baby.
Right.
Not being thankful for what he has and just fighting and complaining.
Well, and I think right now is the worst time as a wrestler to try and be that demanding and try and be that hostile towards the company. Because, you go back into the 80s, end of the 80s, you had options.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't like your game, Vince. I'm going to go play with the Crockett's. I'm going to go play with the Ganyas. I'm going to go play with someone else. Now there aren't those options. Where are you going to go? The crumbling TNA?
TNA right now, they've just lost just about everybody. AJ Styles seems to be doing more with Ring of Honor than he is with TNA anymore. And big news came out week and a half ago. Sting's gone from TNA, as we know. They say he allegedly signed a Legends contract with WWE, which will give him main event matches, marquee matches, his own DVD, which I think they're going to call it the Legend, or no, I'm sorry, the Sting, the Legend of WCW, something around those lines, and then he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. Now, my question is, would they add him this year and put him in with his buddy, the Ultimate Warrior, that he started with, or do they wait till next year? And I'm thinking they might wait till next year to have it all solid, I think. But I do think Undertaker Sting is going to happen this year, and I think it's perfect for WrestleMania 30, and I think it's the only thing that could save it.
But I heard Undertaker might not even be at this WrestleMania. And I also heard they might push Sting back until next year.
Oh, well, no, they actually reported that Undertaker is already set to return on, trying to think what the date was, March something, one of the very early March Raws already. And I guess he's going to attack the Shield.
He's
Or
going to
come back after the Shield because they're the ones that put him
that's
out.
right.
Well, but it will make more sense to have Sting go through a year in WWE and then have him face Taker.
It doesn't make any sense to do that because that's not what Sting wants. That's why Sting didn't come last time. Sting wants a Legends contract. He wants to be Brock Lesnar. He wants to be Kevin Nash.
But you don't want Sting to come in and wrestle other people.
Exactly.
And establish a WWE career. You want him coming in as the guy who's always been the outsider working in the other companies, as this legend of would he ever work here, whatever, and he just shows up and he's on superstar status because of who he is, and he faces The Undertaker.
Exactly.
If you let him wrestle people,
you bring him in for a year and you ruin him. He's got to lose. And the thing is, that's not the contract he wanted. He does not want to go on the road. He does not want to do that. He wants a Legends contract. He wants to be The Rock. He wants to be Brock Lesnar. He wants to do marquee matches here and there, and it's perfect to just throw it in there. And it's WrestleMania 30, Chuck. You know what I mean? You throw everything you got at WrestleMania 30. So,
well, did you hear the other news? Hogan can pass their physical, and they're talking about making Hogan the host of WrestleMania this year.
Are they? Yeah, I can see that. Oh, and the other person they're trying to get into the Hall of Fame this year yet again, and I think we've discussed this before, is Mr. T. Because WrestleMania 30, he was in WrestleMania 1. He's the only one that hasn't been inducted from the main event. But his problem before was he thought they didn't ask him soon enough. But it should be interesting.
I don't see what significance Mr. T has had on the sport of professional wrestling.
No, really, he has. I got to disagree with you, and let me tell you why. Because out of the celebrity wing, I think he's truly probably the only person that belongs in there. Because he led to the whole rock and wrestling revolution, the whole build-up, the evolution. He was there. As far as his skills, as far as his longevity, as far as any of that, no. But it's just like Wendy Richter getting involved as the first diva. It's because she was the first diva, and she brought that out. Was she close to anywhere near being the best of all time? Absolutely not.
Well, it's one of those things where Mr. T doesn't get put on the same level as a Hogan and Piper. They
Yeah.
have a special celebrity part.
Yeah, I
where
wasn't
he's
even
definitely in the top
thinking
5.
about the celebrity wing of it.
Oh, you were thinking, okay, yeah, no,
I
the
thought they were
celebrity
just
wing.
inducting him straight up as a
Oh, no,
WWE
no.
superstar, and it's like, no, he did not have an impact in the sport at all.
No, he was a celebrity wing guy. And
Yeah,
I mean,
I can
behind
see
him,
that.
the only other person that I could think is Bob Uecker. Donald Trump, I don't think belongs there because he basically had WrestleMania at his hotel twice, and then he did the head shaving bit. But who's the other one that's in there? Drew
Carey?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he was in the Rumble one year.
Oh, and
I got beat up.
And there's a rumor that someday David Arquette might be considered for the celebrity wing too. Horrible.
David Arquette.
What about
Yeah,
Liberace?
You know what? Liberace, they should make a music division.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of liking that they have a diva division now for the Hall of Fame, and like Trish Stratus belongs there, and then Alita belongs there. I think right behind them, you've got to have like a Mickey James, possibly in the future. Victoria,
See, the problem
Gail
with calling
Gail
it
Kim.
the problem with calling it the Divas division, aren't you kind of excluding?
Well, no, I think they're actually calling it. Well, it's not a division. They're part of it, but they're doing a diva every year now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there are female wrestlers that should go into the Hall of Fame that weren't divas. I
No,
mean,
but they
diva didn't exist until
Right. They still will. They still will go in.
2000s.
I think there's going to be. You're going to see more and more of the older ones that didn't get enough credit when they should have. The Leilani Kais, the Malaya Hosakas, and
Mount Fiji.
The two I don't understand that aren't in there. Why is it Elizabeth and woman in there?
Well, woman got murdered by Chris Benoit. So until the WWE Network launches, they don't speak of Benoit or her.
And Elizabeth was a valet, a manager.
and
I mean,
but-
they do have
but-
managers.
And if I'm wrong,
section, right?
I thought they put
Well-
her in like 3 years ago.
Elizabeth or woman?
Eli-
Oh, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Did they? No?
I
I
thought
have
she
no
was
clue.
inducted as the first lady of wrestling.
Was she?
I thought she was. I could be wrong,
I have no clue.
but speaking of which, I think Missy Hyatt belongs in there too. Believe it or not, but that's just my personal thought.
But
Baby doll.
Baby Doll, you've got Baby Doll, you got Missy Hyatt, you've got Sunshine, you've got Luna Vachon.
Yeah, Luna. I mean, you had several years of NWA storylines centered around Baby doll.
Yeah, and then I would also say, besides those, man, that noise Andy killing bugs in the background there just threw me off my game. Who was the other person I was thinking of?
Is that
Lisa?
Andy?
Huh?
Is that Andy or outside?
Oh, I can't tell. I'm wearing headphones.
oh, it's
Oh,
outside.
it's out here.
Yeah, it was me.
Okay, but yeah, you've got Baby Doll, you've got all those people, and then in WWE, the only other person, and for a long time I wouldn't have said that she deserved it, but again, I thought the same way of Trish at the beginning, and Trish is far beyond this person I'm about to say, but Sable, because she was actually there during the Sunny times, and then she brought things from the Sunny to the Attitude Era as far as women go.
Right, she bridged the gap between Sonny and Trish Stratus. She was the one that was halfway in between.
Right. and
Well,
then-
you forgot the actual biggest diva, I think. She was the first one to actually win the IC title.
China?
China deserves to be in there.
She'll eventually be in there. When they induct DX, probably next year, she'll be in it. But, talking about the Hall of Fame, I'm going to skip off of the woman topic real quick because one thing that's been bugging me is that when you talk about inducting factions and stuff, the NWO belongs in there. But not only does NWO belong in there, so does Hall and Nash individually, I think, or as a tag team, however you want to put it, plus the NWO. Then you've got the Steiner brothers. You've got so many things that came out of the NWO, people that belong in there that aren't in there yet. So,
now, I don't know everyone who's in. If you're going to talk factions, are the Fabulous Freebirds in there yet?
Fabulous Freebirds went in. Wow. I thought they were going in, but I don't remember.
Michael Hayes is in, right? Individually?
No, he wouldn't be in individually. He'd have to be in as a Freebird. He didn't do enough individually. I mean, he was a big enough personality, but career-wise, he was always in there with the Freebirds. Yeah, I think they did put him in because wasn't it him and Jimmy Garvin? They threw Jimmy Garvin in there, I think, when that wasn't the real Freebirds, in my opinion, anyway. Yeah, so there's just so many people they still need to induct, but Sting and the Warrior, if they had worked it out sooner where Sting could go in this year, that would have been phenomenal. I mean, can you imagine? Two guys that nobody knew, two bodybuilders. They were on a team of 4 called Power Team USA. They decide to leave the group. They go together, and they take a cue from the Road Warriors, name themselves after a blockbuster movie from that era called Blade Runner, call themselves the Blade Runners. And I want to say their names were...
one was Rock.
Rock and Flash, I think, were the two names. And then they split up, and they both keep makeup, but they change it a little. One goes to World Class Championship Wrestling. The other one goes to NWA. You've got Sting and the Dingo Warrior. Dingo Warrior comes to WWF, becomes the Ultimate Warrior now. Sting continues on with NWA to... he was in UWF, my mistake. Which got bought out by NWA. Sting goes to NWA, stays with it, becomes WCW. They both become world champion at the exact same time. And their careers almost paralleled all the way through until Warrior just messed everything up because he cared about the money. And Sting cared more about the business, although Sting had his own demons at the same time. Anybody remember the Dingo Warrior? Anybody?
What was the origin of the name Dingo Warrior?
I don't think he's ever explained it. But Dingo Warrior was an Ultimate Warrior in solid face paint. Like he had one, like he would wear yellow tights, and he would have, similar to Ultimate Warrior makeup, but just picture it's all yellow.
Yeah.
And then he had a black mustache.
Yeah, I rember when he was Dingo Warrior. I've never... Like
even on the DVD,
Warrior,
remember they said they said what the heck is a dingo?
Yeah, Ultimate Warrior. They explained the origin of the name, which was basically just riffing off the Dingo Warrior. It didn't make sense to anybody.
Right.
But they never explained where the dingo part came from.
Right. Exactly. It didn't make any sense.
Dingoes are a wild animal in Australia. They're actually a breed of the dogs that were brought over. They bred with the native dogs there, and dingoes are a particular species of dog found in Australia, though.
Right.
Oh, well, now his name Dingo Warrior makes perfect sense to me.
I was just going to say, thus the question, where did Dingo Warrior come from?
Well, don't you guys pay attention? He came from parts unknown.
Like Australia.
Oh, man.
And what's the main export of parts unknown?
The foreign object.
Exactly.
Foreign object, that's right. Oh, man. So, I mean, it should be interesting. I really want to see who they're going to put in the Hall of Fame next, but it really sucks that Macho Man hasn't been able to be put in because Lenny Poffo and the family are being jerks about it.
Well, that's not what I heard. Like I saw
an interview with Lenny Poffo, said he will not allow them to put Randy in unless they put them in as a Poffo family like they did the Von Erichs.
No, but what I heard from Lenny Poffo is he talked to WWF and he goes, go ahead and put him in. I don't care. Just don't give us any money. Just don't expect our family to be there.
That's not the interview I heard with him.
That's the interview I heard.
All right, Google it. Somebody Google it.
I can't. My phone's talking to Andrew.
But, yeah, Lenny Poffo wants them to be inducted as a family, and I just don't think that Lenny, as much as I liked him, because he was one of the best jobbers ever, he really was. He was the guy that would go in there and he would kick some butt for, about 6 minutes of a 12-minute match, and his partner would get his butt kicked and lose. I like Lenny Poffo a lot, but I don't think he's Hall of Fame material, even as the genius. Angelo Poffo, God rest his soul, good guy, but I don't know. Maybe it's because it was before my generation, but I just never heard of him or thought of him in the terms of some of the other legends of that era.
I never knew he existed till Randy Savage was a superstar, and then they discussed the fact that his father was a wrestler.
Right,
I would have never known what Angelo Poffo is.
Did anybody see that Lenny Poffo came back and put the Genius cap back on and changed his name to Damien Sandow?
I know, right? That's the same thing I was saying. It's just like a total ripoff of the gimmick. Hey, I got a quiz for everybody, and Alex, don't answer first because I know you know the answer to this. Who was Randy Savage's cousin? All right, go ahead, Alex.
Ripper Savage.
And the girl?
Was there a girl?
Eva! Or they'd say Ava, and she'd yell Eva. She was kind of like a Luna Vachon kind of girl.
You know how long it's been since I've seen any of that California wrestling?
Yeah, but Ripper Savage was supposed to be the cousin of the Macho Man, so it was pretty funny.
And the only time I remember they would allude to it, and then he was working commentary one time, and the dude's like, "Are the rumors true about Randy Savage being your cousin? Who told you that? Nobody's supposed to know anything about that. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, and I just remember Ava would always, they'd call her Ava, and then she would get mad and correct them that it's Eva or vice versa. I mean, it doesn't really matter what the pronunciation was always wrong to her. But, yeah, man, I miss California Championship Wrestling. But
California Championship Wrestling. Oh, shit.
You know what I remember?
I remember watching it, and I remember seeing Raven there before he was Raven. He was actually wrestling there as Scott Anthony. I remember seeing the 1-2-3 kid there, but he was the Lightning kid back then.
Oh, you're thinking of GWF. You're thinking of Global Wrestling Federation.
No, it was California Championship Wrestling. I remember.
California Championship Wrestling didn't exist at that time.
Yeah, I think it had folded by then.
The only thing I remember from California Championship Wrestling was every week they showed their promo for Rocky Johnson and the Road Warriors. And
they would spend half the show showing all pictures of all the people that were coming, and the only one that ever showed up was, I think, Jimmy Snuka was there once.
Yeah.
And then Rocky Johnson was there for a while. But they would show everybody, literally everybody was coming.
And they made sure every week to say the Road Warriors are coming, and they never, ever showed up.
Kept me watching every week, but then eventually I was like, man, you're showing... It was like a poster board with pictures of people, and it wasn't even like they had clips. It was like a poster board with pictures stuck to it, and they would just go around to each picture. But California Championship Wrestling was a good stomping ground for a lot of people originally. But the Hollywood Blondes, remember them, Alex?
Yeah.
Billy Anderson and Tim Patterson. And Billy Anderson, what a piece of work. But he's still very famous here in Southern California. But, yeah. Maybe one day we'll touch on that topic, but he's kind of...
Got a lot of our California wrestling information from watching Wally George.
Yeah.
What was that female wrestler? Kat?
Kat, yeah.
I can't remember her full name.
I've asked Jesse Hernandez what happened to her several times, and he doesn't know. So, and if you ever want a fun trip, just talk to Jesse Hernandez either on Facebook, or online, or in person. He's got the greatest stories of California Championship Wrestling and any kind of wrestling that came through California and other parts of the country. But he's probably our only legitimate legend that we have here that resides in Southern California is Jesse Hernandez, former referee and wrestler. Fantastic guy. I had the pleasure of riding with him last Friday, as a matter of fact, to a show, and we just talked for hours. But so, okay, moving on from the Hall of Fame, unless you guys got something else on the Hall of Fame. I'm thinking Dolph Ziggler's coming out again, but they're kind of not letting him win. I wonder if he gets his build-up or not.
I'm just not a fan of Ziggler.
I want to be, but, now that the real him is back, I don't know if we need him anymore. Speaking of the New Age Outlaws.
Something about him just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is.
That he's Billy Gunn?
Well, I know. Well, the problem is, like with Dolph Ziggler, you could see he can be something better. You could see that in him, and yet he does nothing.
The skills are there, but from what I understand, it's all his backstage antics, which is what held Randy Orton down for so long. Which, there's a story going around that Randy Orton, I think it was, accidentally was trying to play a prank on somebody and took a shit in his own gym bag on accident. I was reading it the other day. I don't know how true it is. Because I know he did that to, I want to say it's Kelly's purse, like poured a soda in a Louis Vuitton purse, ruined all her stuff as a practical joke.
Well, don't you remember we were watching that reality show with Johnny Fairplay? Is that his name?
Yeah.
And somebody decided to it was something like put his clothes up on laundry. On laundry hooks in the living room. So to get back at him, he took a dump in their bed.
Yeah.
That was his revenge.
But it was TV, so you defecated on his blanket.
It's the only time I've ever seen anybody get kicked off TV.
I love when shows like that, obviously they've coached the person on what to say, because even if defecate is a word you regularly use, which nobody does, if someone does that in your bed, you're not going to say, you defecated in my bed. You're going to have a reaction like the dude in Can't Buy Me Love. You shit on my house, bro! You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Out of anger, there's no way you're going to take the time to, you defecate. No. It's not going to happen.
That was a crazy concept for his show. It was, they took reality stars, put them in a house together to film a B movie together. That's what the concept of the show was. And all this stuff happened like that. They had that girl from like the Love Boat show. I can't remember what it's called. Where they would go on the boat, and it was like a dating show on a boat.
I don't even remember that one.
Survivor of Love or something like that. But there's this girl, Tony, that she would get mad, her whole face would turn red, and she'd go crazy.
Was that one from Europe where when the dude ended up winning?
Yeah, it ended up being a dude.
Yeah, the chick was actually a dude.
That might have been. I don't know. They all kind of run together.
Well,
Wow, that's awesome.
You never heard about that one, Andrew? They had a reality show where all these
That was like the one that Chet won.
all these dudes were competing to win this chick, and at the end they were like, it wasn't basically they told him you could have the $100,000
Oh, yeah.
if you choose to continue dating him.
Yeah.
Now that you know it's a man, but if you don't keep dating him, you can't have the money.
Yeah, it was the most awkward thing ever. It was on, and the only reason I know it because I saw it on the worst or best reality show moments.
Yeah, that was the biggest tranny trick ever pulled.
You know, you would have just freaked out.
And most of those dudes ended up making out with him.
I know, that's what I'm
At
saying.
some time or another during the show.
Yeah, that show wouldn't have flew over here.
No, the worst was Maven getting a lap dance by Alexandra Arquette.
Oh, yeah, that was great. Yeah, and the sad part is, Maven spent the whole season, like, back and forth, like, am I grossed out by you, or am I in love with you? She couldn't tell.
Oh, but then again, he was sitting there at night calling his friends, talking about, I just took 8 Vicodin and I'm not asleep, bro. You know?
Yeah, Maven, that was a good investment.
Yeah. Well, if you look at Tough Enough, none of the winners ever actually did anything. The losers seem to have actually done a little better. You've got
Miz,
Ryback, Nitro, Johnny Nitro, you know, Johnny Morrison, Melina. Matter of fact, I think...
what happened to the guy that won the last one?
Who did win the last one?
I don't remember the guy's name, but they showed him. He had the belt, and he was on Raw, and he's like, I won, yay, now I get to wrestle, and then I never saw him again.
Right. Yeah, what did happen to that guy? I know what happened to Eric Watts, the guy that lost. He's in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
Yeah.
And he still gets blown up trying to run the ropes.
Hey, since you bring up independence, a few episodes ago, it was just me, Chuck, and Stuart.
Uh-huh.
We did a whole episode talking about EWF, trying to give a perspective of outsiders.
Uh-huh.
And as an insider, what's your perspective?
Depends on actually what topic you're talking about, and that's why, like, when we were talking about CM Punk, I brought up the fact that you don't want to be the crybaby. When you're the crybaby, you better be able to carry your weight like a Stone Cold when he did it in CM Punk. I think you need to be vocal, but you need to be understanding and realize it's a job. Like, you don't walk into Nestle and say, you know what, I don't like these Butterfinger peanut cups, so let's not do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't have that right, and wrestlers, sometimes they start buying their own publicity and think they're different than they are. CM Punk could have been a street kid. Wrestling gave him a life, gave him millions of dollars, gave him his house, gave him notoriety, and then he believes his own hype. And I don't think he did it in a bratty way. I think he did it in a I'm taking my ball and going home way. But I don't think it was like, you better do it or else. I think it was like, I don't like the direction it's going. No, I'm just done out of frustration. But, you know, you pitch your ideas, and sometimes they go for them, and sometimes they don't. You know, I've just watched the evolution of people go in different directions from what is originally meant to be, and sometimes it's, like I was using the term earlier, being over with the fans. You know, I've seen, you know, people that the fans just can't grab onto, and other people they do, and then situations change, and all of a sudden people have duck whistles, you know? So it's pretty crazy. So, but the EWF has it going on right now, man. 4 for 4 on the first 4 house shows of the year. Running out of chairs, just phenomenal fan reactions. So they're gaining as much of a strong fan base as everybody else, and even in perspective of like WWE, obviously you have to take it on the limitations, but we have those kind of diehard fans that follow us every show, like Mr. Duck Whistle, who sits out in the crowd. So, what was your guys' perspective anyway?
My perspective was just how nice of a show it is for the whole family to be able to go to.
Yeah.
Like, when my kids were younger, I would have never thought of taking them to a WWE show.
Right.
Which now they're older, I would, but, you know, I would have had no problem taking them at any age to an EWF show. And there's a lot of hidden talent, I think, in EWF. Guys that you're like, wow, this guy is actually in the minor leagues, you know.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and what Jesse does is he tries to do all old school type of wrestling where it's family oriented. And if you guys noticed, and maybe next show you guys will kind of pay attention to this, you'll see, like in WWE right now, it's evolved to high spot, high spot, high spot, high spot, high spot, and finish your move, kick out, finish your move, kick out, finish your move, kick out, wins by a little accidental roll up. Silly things like that. Where you see in EWF, it still tells the story. It starts with your even ground, your back and forth, your hot tags, the whole thing, and it builds the story. So you have your highs, bring it down, highs, bring it down, highs, bring it down. For the big push. Where and to give you an example, of what I'm talking about like a Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy goes out there and every move has to be his super move. So people get kind of desensitized to it, and it's like, well, what's the point of that?
I know, me and Andy were talking about that the other day. He goes, I remember when Jeff Hardy did the Swanton Bomb off the Titantron, and I was like, I remember when he did that off the cage, off the ring, off of everything.
Off the ladder, through the announce table.
Yeah, and it's like, well, at some point you just stop caring about stuff like that.
Another thing...
And I think that's one of the problems with, like, the Hell in the Cell now. You kind of... So many people have fallen off the Hell in the Cell, you just don't care anymore. You kind of go, okay.
And really...
You get the classic cage matches that they used to do in the 80s? The cage wasn't always a weapon. There was wrestling going on inside the cage. But every move didn't involve the use of the cage as a weapon.
Exactly, but I like the NWA version where it was a chain link fence all the way around, and you had to get a pinfall. The WWF, I love the steel blue cage, but the fact that they were always trying to climb over or get out the door used to annoy the hell out of me, because NWA, to me, was doing it the right way. You were having a wrestling match in a cage so nobody could get in. Or get out, whatever the matter is.
The original...
Yeah, I know this is something everybody always talks about, but I just love watching that old video, Sting getting jumped in the cage, when they close it off.
Which...
It's just one of the many times the Horseman jumped Sting.
But the
best one, and I know exactly what you're going to say, Dusty Rhodes, right?
Which one?
Well, they go out like they're going to help him because the Koloffs are attacking him, and then all of a sudden they start beating up Dusty, and they put the steel briefcase under his leg.
Oh, yeah.
Or under his ankle. Yeah, I mean, classic, because they came out and everybody popped for him like they were the saviors, and then all of a sudden they just took him out. It was just awesome.
But, I mean, the original match that Hell in the Cell was kind of stolen from, the cage was never a weapon, and it was just one of the best matches to watch every time they had it was the War Games. 2 rings, cage, and with a roof, encompassing the whole thing, and...
Except they forgot to measure the roof, so when Sid went to go powerbomb Brian Pillman, he hit the cage and dropped him on his neck.
Yeah, that always happened.
But the Warriors doing their double shoulder... over the double set of ropes and all that. The War Games, jamming Arn Anderson's head between the 2 rings.
Yeah.
Hey, does anybody else remember the scaffold match with the Midnight Express?
I was never a fan of the scaffold match. They were just horrible to watch.
Well, you guys know Jim Cornette really got hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was scared of heights, too. He was not supposed to fall like that.
So who did you say? What did you say about the match, Alex? It wasn't the Midnight Express?
No, I didn't say that. I said I didn't enjoy those matches.
Oh.
They were horrible matches. I mean, you can't really do anything that high in the air on that little platform.
Right.
They punched each other a few times, a body slam.
Well, the promos of them pushing the pumpkins off were pretty cool, but the actual match itself sucked. And then the triple cage match. I was talking to this with some of the boys in the back last week or the week before, because there was two of them. You remember in the movie with David Arquette how it was a triple cage? There was two versions of that. NWA had a version where you had to work your way to the top, and then it was either UWF or WCCW, World Championship Wrestling. You had to work your way down the cages, and that's how they got away with basically stealing the concept.
I thought NWA, you started at the top and worked your way down.
I think that's what it was. The movie is what messed me up.
The original one, Baby Doll was in the bottom.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
And there was Jimmy Garvin, and was it Kevin Sullivan?
I want to say it was...
The winner was the one that got to Baby Doll in the bottom first. It was a ridiculous concept.
Yeah, it really was. But, we were just talking about that there was two versions of that. You see, there was two versions of almost everything.
The one climbing up was even more ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember, I want to say it was Sting and Flair climbing up in one of them. I never liked them, so I never really paid attention. But one of the worst concepts for a match, we were talking about this too, and it goes along the same kind of thing. And it almost sounded cool, almost. And then when you watch the match, you went, what the hell is this?
I got it. Punjabi prison match.
The what?
Punjabi prison match.
No, but that was horrible.
The bag over the head match?
The blindfold match? No, but that's up there.
So the winner gets the bag, $10,000?
No, this one was this one involved Dustin Rhodes.
Oh, I can't remember what they called it. They fought in the back of a big rig, driving down the freeway.
Yeah, they fought in the back of a big rig driving down the freeway. So it sounded like it was going to be interesting, and it was like, oh, it's two guys wrestling in the back of a big rig going down the freeway. It was that Bunkhouse Stampede, I think.
Yeah, no.
There's worse. Does anybody remember the Miners Glove match?
Oh, coal miner glove match go back before you were born. Those were crazy matches in California Championship Wrestling. They used to be. Dad used to have these electrician's gloves, and they would use that as a coal miner's glove match. So we used to just crack up. It's like we've got hundreds of those.
Well, how could you forget about the other infamous Goldust match? The Backlot Brawl from WrestleMania 12. The infamous Bronco Chase.
Oh, yeah, the Bronco Chase. I completely blocked that part out.
We were there live.
Yeah, you guys are live.
Yeah, man.
Well, one of the rumors was the Piper actually wanted OJ to wrestle OJ at WrestleMania. He wanted to have that crazy scenario, and when they realized it was just too far out there to do that, they decided to throw Goldust in there.
Yeah, I saw a thing after the Super Bowl, and it said last time the Broncos made a good run for it was in '94, and they showed a picture of OJ.
That was on my page.
You know what? There's a classic match that I don't think I've seen one since the 80s.
What's that?
And I can't remember what they called the match. I just know what happened to the loser.
What's that?
He got locked in the coffin full of snakes.
That was, wasn't that Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake, right?
No, they had them all over.
No.
All
Was it
sorts of
Magic?
different
No.
people in them. There was a bunch of those matches in the 80s. Different people would do them.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, they used to do the exploding box matches too. McFoley used to do that. Anybody that watched that stupid MTV version show, it was similar to that, but it looked more real. WXP, is that what it was called?
No,
Remember on
Wrestling
MTV?
Society X. What
Yeah,
you're talking
Wrestling
about, right?
Society X, yeah. Remember when he would hit the thing and the electricity would go off or someone would blow up? It was like that, but it was more realistic. They would lock somebody in a box and then they would blow the bottom up.
Yeah.
So it was a...
Kind of like the time that Abdullah the Butcher got thrown into an electric chair.
I was just going to say, it
yeah.
was about as good as Abdullah getting electrified.
Abby! Yeah, yeah. Fun times. Oh, man. So, I've got one other prediction for WrestleMania real quick. Or not for WrestleMania, just leading into WrestleMania. I'll give you two, but this is actually going to throw you guys for a loop. The first one is you've got the Shield versus the Wyatt family. My prediction is that a member of the Shield becomes a member of the Wyatt family. The other two go their own way. My prediction is that of the three, Seth Rollins, who's actually Tyler Black from Ring of Honor, the guy with the half blonde, half black hair, he joins the Wyatt family. Dean Ambrose goes on his own. Roman Reigns goes on his own. That's my prediction on that.
And
although Dean Ambrose would look better with them, but
I would assume it's going to be Ambrose and the other...
and Roman Reigns, yeah, kind of feuding
in the
future.
beginning.
Yeah, and then
breakup.
and then my second prediction, and this one's gonna seem so far-fetched.
Isn't that match happening?
It's happening on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you said WrestleMania.
No, I said leading up to WrestleMania. At first I was thinking it was a WrestleMania idea, but it's really separate from that. It may lead to something at WrestleMania. But my second prediction is that the new member of the Authority, the new face of the company, is going to be John Cena.
Finally?
No. Yeah, because look at how they've been setting it up. It's very faint. You can't really see it. They talk about people carrying the company. They talk about people saying that everything they say is they're describing John Cena. Then when something happens to Randy Orton, John Cena's all of a sudden standing with him. All of a sudden, John Cena's this or that with them. But he's also been purposefully away from them. So the setup is really there if you look in the background. But as always, they test the waters. But I noticed that his new stuff is on sale. Like half price is neon stuff. So it should be interesting. But now with Daniel Bryan, they may be able to get away with that with Cena.
So you're thinking night after WrestleMania, Cena comes out to congratulate Bryan and turns on him.
Pretty much, because that's been set up too, that they're the best of friends. So yeah, that is pretty much my prediction. It wouldn't totally throw me off if it was a three-way match and Cena ended up in it, WrestleMania, but I honestly think it's Batista and Bryan and Orton. But all right, guys, that's it for this episode. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.
All right, later, everybody.
Good day.